Mr. Sagar is growth leader, research and development at Magic Minds. He's working with utilities to create their digital transformation blueprint and implement tools and processes to bring forward the transformation. He has over 12 years of experience in helping telecom and utilities in successful digital transformations.
Great, thank you. Um, Good morning, everyone. Glad to see this conference happening in person. Could not join in person, but very happy to bring forward our views in this conference. Most of you, being from NCGD industry and working with various on-field teams, we understand that the project management is one of the key factors while doing a pipeline construction. We have been talking for the last 2 to 3 years in terms of how much growth we are seeing or witnessing in the Indian geography, primarily with respect to the construction of the new network to cater to the needs of the growing network and the customer base. Either it could be a CNG station or direct consumers. We are trying to enlarge the network to provide the gas connection to every possible consumer, right? So when we are doing such an activity on a larger scale, we see that the organization of how you do take forward to this construction, the project management of this construction becomes very critical because that is where the quality and the safety lies and how quickly you can actually deliver, right? While doing this, being part of the domain for last 12 years, we have been working with various customers, understanding what kind of challenges that are faced by the on-field teams and what is that insights that back office team are missing when a project construction is happening. And that is where we bring forward today's topic of discussion, which is the digital solution, how a digital solution can actually help your need in terms of pipeline construction management. Before I move forward, a small introduction about who we are, so that will help you understand why we are the ones who are presenting it over here. When an organization founded in 2010, working with multi-layer utilities across the globe, providing their assistance in building their GIS systems and mobility solutions to bring forward the information and insights from the field to the back office, with a primary motive to make that business optimization, which can save your costs, time, and effort through digital essence, making the journey from your traditional process without losing that key drivers onto a digital platform so that the information is available to everyone and every stakeholder of the organization at the edge of their fingertips. So that is where we continuously advance and evolve to improvise the solutions for the industry. We heard a lot about how the organization industry is growing. At the same point of time, what we also see is that we talk about the digital twin. I think everyone would be aware of the word digital twin when we talk about replicating an on-field asset in the back office so that you can simulate and understand the behavior of that an asset. In a similar way, before the asset is actually placed on the field, or you start digging or laying a route for your pipeline construction, it becomes very critical that you replicate the on-field process in the back office system so that you can see the twin or a replication of what is actually happening on the field. Now, why do you actually need a digital solution? We have been very happy doing the traditional process of capturing the information on the paper. And when we always talk in construction, when in the construction industry, with respect to the contractors and vendors, right, who are actually taking forward your construction on the field. But the challenges we see is that when you are doing this traditional process of paper and pen or via the contractors and getting the information at the end of the week or end of the quarter after construction is completed, we see a lot of operational hassles in this. When there are any roadblocks being encountered or there are any process guidelines to be followed that are actually creating a lot of discrepancy in terms of information that is existing on the field versus that is being available in the organization. Take an example of a standard operating procedure that needs to be followed by an contractor on the field. He can always put forward an information or write forward an information to follow the norms, but actually not implicating or using it actually on the field. We do a lot of reporting every day when the work is being done. If from the construction industry, people can very much relate when we talk about the stringing process, the welding process, backfilling, trenching, all this sequential process that needs to happen. Everything which is associated with a report, which is again tied back to something called as a pipe book, and all this, there are around 12 to 15 reports that needs to be prepared on a daily basis for any construction project that is going forward. Such a project, when these information needs to be feed into the system back, there's a lot of digitization that needs to be done. So there's an intermediate step of again digitizing, not the first-hand information that is coming into the system. And when you do the construction process, if you see a typical construction process, you do the construction, do a survey that of the construction that has happened so that you can capture the location information so that that can be fed into the GIS system. There's an inventory that is being consumed. So preparing a report for the inventory, and then finally installing your markers so that your operations team can have a better visibility of the network when they actually into the operation network. So these are 4 different steps that needs to be that is happening in a project, which can very well be impacting the time and the amount of effort that is taking for building this across. There are various departments, the finance department, the contract management department, the inventory department, where there's a handshake required, and this handshake is happening via WhatsApp and WhatsApp communication or through email communication, where people can miss out on the information or the historical dialogue that has happened can actually miss out. When some contractor is performing, or when we're expanding from GA to GA, there's a high level of possibility that we actually use the same contractor at different places based on the performance. And how do you measure this performance? Actually, that comes into a priority item when we talk about how a project construction is happening. So when you talk about a typical construction pipeline construction project management that we talk about, we see there is an essence or a need for converting into bringing in a digital platform which can actually simulate the work that is happening on the field or capture the information that is happening on the field and provide as a first-hand information to every stakeholder in the organization. So a digital project management is one that can help you monitor your daily progress against an MWP. What is the planned work versus an actual work, giving a visibility, not in terms of attributable values, but in terms of a real visualization on a map, which can tell you this was the planned network route and this is how we are actually moving forward. How many wells that have been repaired, giving an indication of the quality of the project construction that is happening. Any roadblocks that are being encountered being brought forward as an first level information so that everyone is aware about the delay in the project and the roadblocks that are being encountered. The accuracy of this confirmed construction data and the daily progress report. The most important point, one of the point that also comes across is that when the work is happening on the field, what is the digital evidence that is available with the back office team? The field supervisor or the project supervisor or the GA head who is sitting in the back office, how do they have a proof about work that is being done on the field? I'll give an example. When you actually do a trench, okay, there is a mat level that needs to be maintained when you're lowering a pipe. Now, how do you actually know what is the lower mat level that has been maintained? Someone can actually enter a value of 3 meters or 2 meters and they submit it across. But whereas your SOP says that there needs to be 3 meters minimum mat level to be maintained. Now, these information, when you actually have an information, digital evidences in the form of a photo or a video, can actually bring forward that visual proofs about the actual thing that is being reported across. So it's a continuous process. How you plan, how you measure, and how you improve. That is essentially the project management process, right? So a digital project management is that actually brings this every information in a digital fashion, giving you the possible insights, delays, and also giving a live visibility of the project that is moving forward with a complete information maintenance in terms of the documents, essentially all project information at one place, right? So from project planning, that's where the management started. How do you plan your project? So someone in the central office sitting down, identifying the route which will help you connect the various customers across for building your network. And you prepare your work orders and assign it to a contractor or a field engineer to do this process. Now, when this process has been identified, the route has been identified, and the plan has been handed over to a vendor on the field to construct the network, we cannot wait till the project is completed or to wait till the end of the day to see how it is progressing. Now, whatever has been planned need to be replicated on the field. Bringing in a mobility solutions that can actually bring forward the live information, and also help you in remote inspections is something that will help forward. Take the example of the situation that we had in last 2 years in the pandemic situation. How many we had restrictions in terms of how many people can work on the field, and there were continuous restrictions in terms of how when they're working in the daytime, working in the night time. How are these roadblocks being identified, and how is that uh, when any impact is being seen, that is immediately being reflected in the system? Like having a possible mobile solutions or a mobility solutions which can bring forward the information from field to back to the office, it made the job easier for the customers or the people who have adapted a digital process to to monitor the work from the remote places itself. So being from the project office, being able to visualize the status of construction, visualizing the reports, ability to avoid that complete manual work of writing a report and submitting it to audit via directly enabling a system to generate the report for you as on date required, simplifies a lot of process in itself and saves a lot of cost and effort. And sending this information to all the stakeholders, information like you capture the coordinates, send it to the GIS systems, you have the inventory information, report it to an ERP system, you have an consumer survey done, identify how many consumers are being willing to take a connection so that you can process your network accordingly. So getting this information in a connected fashion actually helps a lot. So that is where we see a digital solutions or a digital project construction management solutions being able to help uh, CGD companies better plan and execute their construction management project pipeline construction managements. So that is where we also see an opportunity. As I said, we being connected to the industry from longer duration of time, we put forward something called as Field On, which actually addresses these key challenges and helps city gas distribution companies to plan and mobilize their complete construction management in a digital way. Any field operation you talk about, could be your consumer survey, could be your network survey, or project construction project itself. That is where we are transforming the way the field operations are existing without losing that traditional point of checks which will ensure the quality. It's not a replacement, it's an additional aid that we are helping out, which is actually helping back office organizations and all the stakeholders in the system to get a better insights on the system. Now, to get a visualization of how this works, uh, let me show you a small demonstration of this actually how this works out. You can see my screen and my browser forward at this point of time. This is a
Yes, sir, we can see your browser now.
thank you. So this is a projects dashboard where all the projects that are currently working for a GA. Assume yourself to be one of the GA heads sitting back in the office and want to understand the construction process that is happening. Let me step into one of the projects over here, which is steel pipeline construction that is happening. And I can see a visualization of the map with the route that is being carried on with the network. So this view you only get after your information network is constructed and synced with GIS. We bringing forward a step back and saying that while the construction is happening, while the progress is happening, you get this visualization to see what are the gaps that are happening. Like for example, I just scroll in and see that there is a gap over here and connectivity has not happened. Probably an horizontal drilling is required over here because there is an overhead flyover going or there's an T-junction encountered. So this kind of visualization being brought to the office in a live at a live system. All the assets information, like for example, I have a welding process being done. I know which kilometer this welding is being done, and also providing the photos and videos of the work being done. Like for example, a short video while the welding process is being done to identify whether welding, all the aesthetics and disciplines of a weld management is being done or not. Every activity being performed in the project, it could be your stringing or your weld testing in terms of ultrasonic radiography, PT, your coating, trenching, everything information is brought back to the office so that on the field when activity is being done, it is being reflected in the back office system. Like this is a lowering activity being done. I understand how it is connecting from one point to another, what kind of soil is being used over here, and what kind of weather conditions this lowering has happened. So, and all the reports, all the photos and images of this was how this being done is also being attached along with the information being submitted. So, giving a real-time visibility for the back office system, ability to generate all kind of reports. We were talking about the reports and how much how much bandwidth or effort it can save, right? Like for example, I just go on to the reports and say, okay, I need a pipe book for all the till the point of time the network construction has happened till date. So I just click on PDF and generate it. I can specify till date and generate a report so that my pipe book is generated on the fly without any manual intervention to write it across and create that report. So you can assume now how much effort that would be saved in terms of only your reports. Like for example, if I just open the report for you, you can see the report over here with all the information available, the upstream connecting pipe, the downstream connecting pipe, the well that is connecting it, when was it coated, when was it stringed, and the part B and part C of the pipe book, which is essential, all being captured into the being able to be being generated in a single click. So any GA head who wants to visualize this information or get an insight on how this construction progress is happening, that is where it actually brings a quick and simpler solution for them. So couple of points over here which can easily help organizations is with respect to the status. Now there's a dashboard that can tell me how many activities have been completed, how many have been approved or rejected, which is giving a live status in terms of the quality of the system. Because quality is something that needs to be measured on a continuous basis to understand the health and the nature of the how is the vendor performing in terms of the construction. Ultimately, if there is a leakage that is happening, that's all leading to a human disaster, right? So while doing the construction itself, without uh, going back and forth again, I think if you're doing it once correctly with a digital aid, that will actually help a lot in terms of how the construction is progressing. Tracking your inventory, how much inventory is available, how much has been consumed, also giving insights about how much inventory has been planned and how much is actually deficit, right? So that kind of information being brought into the system is also something that is quite useful. So being bringing in a digital solution, as I was saying initially, if your pipeline construction management is ably supported by a digital project management system, then you are actually saving a lot of effort, time, and cost. And primarily, I would say that you're ensuring the quality is being delivered because you're able to measure something, which will actually essentially help you take forward the construction in a more progressive fashion. So that is where we see in terms of construction, the customers whom we are working with. We are working more than 2, 3 customers in the Indian region now. CGD companies having implemented this kind of a construction management solution from our end. The other customers, I'm certain, who are using some document management systems to track this kind of information. But certainly, these are the kind of systems that can help us in terms of building the growth or attending to the growth that we are actually anticipating or aiming at in Indian geography. So with that, I say
Thank
thank
you.
you for giving this opportunity, and I encourage everyone in the CGD industry to adapt the digital platforms and take that transformation journey that will help organizations measure better and perform better.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sagar, for your presentation. I just have a question, and then I'll see if audience have more questions for you. So my question is that you must be advising, CGD entities for digital transformation. So which are the areas in which you've seen the most amount of interest so far as the transformation is concerned?
I think the primary arena of work, what we have seen is with respect to the mobility itself, on-field information, how it has been captured in the past versus how it is being utilized or how it is being transformed in the current day. That is where we see most of the transformation coming from. And see, the point is that telecom industry has been that has actually taken um, a long leap, long time ahead. CGD industry is something that has been growing in last 6 to 7 years with the latest government policies that are coming in, and a lot of construction happening on the field. So that is where when the on-field construction has started in the large scale, people started realizing the need for digital solutions to be available so that they can have a realistic thought process or realistic visualization of what is happening on the field. I know many organizations, they say to me that they use WhatsApp for communication. So on field, they're sending the images and everything they're creating a WhatsApp group and exchanging the information, and someone in the back end collating that information to put into the system. So that is where it starts with, but essentially or eventually, all this information that is confidential for the organizations as well will set up into a digital system. So we see most of the journey or a transformation happening in the on-field process to the back office connectivity, and essentially going to GIS and ERP systems.
Okay. All right, sir, then we'll close the session. Thank you so much for joining us and for a very good presentation as well. Thank you.